bring in Donovan McNabb, co-host of Under Center with McNabb and Malone, weekday afternoons, 3 to 7 Eastern on NBCSportsRadio.com. Donovan, how crazy do you think tonight's going to be?
I think it's going to be really crazy. I think everybody is enamored with where Johnny Manziel will be drafted if the Houston Texans will trade their pick, where Khalil Mack may end up, where Sammy Watkins may start his career. I think right now, I think everybody who's either at the draft or who'll be sitting home watching is trying to figure out where the Johnny Manziel trade will start.
Well, I was talking to Marshall Faulk during the commercial break, and Marshall, of course, applying logic, as he always does, and seeing a bigger picture here.
Yeah, that's Marshall.
If you're the Cowboys, Marshall, tell Donovan what you were telling me during the commercial break.
Here's my theory of this is Jerry Jones and being fascinated with everything in Texas, and I'm sure he's fascinated with Johnny Manziel. You saw the relationship with he and Dez in the bro picture. I mean, that right there's a connection.
The bro picture.
There's a connection, right?
He's the new Michael Irvin.
Right. So I said to myself, if Dallas right now, looking at that team with Tony Romo being 34, that they are further away from the Super Bowl than the Houston Texans are.
Right.
Now, if Dallas wants Manziel, you trade Romo in your first, and maybe I don't know what the points are because I don't have that sheet that add up the points.
Right.
You get Manziel. Romo goes to Houston. They're ready to win. They have their quarterback now. Both teams, I believe.
They're ready to win what?
They're ready to win. I believe with the team that they have, the defense and offensive team that the Houston Texans have, Tony Romo will provide them stability, better than stability at the quarterback position.
I'm going to gauge from your reaction, Donovan, you don't agree with that.
Okay, first of all, I played Tony Romo for a couple years, and we had great chances of winning every time that we played with Tony Romo. So with the Houston Texans having stability at quarterback, they had that with Matt Schaub, and we'll see what he got them. They have no defense, Marshall. I know we talk about J.J. Watt, but we made Brian Cushing into the new age Brian Bosworth. He can't stay healthy. He just got paid. He stole money last year. And then they have nobody else that can get to the quarterback. As far as their secondary, they can't cover anybody. You look at Jackson, you look at Joseph, they have no safeties. Their linebackers can't cover the third-rated tight end on any football team. And so if they get their defense together, then maybe offensively we could talk a little bit more about Arian Foster. We could talk a little bit more about, obviously Andre Johnson. They lost Owen Daniels. So I think what they need to do at this particular point is to get a defensive player so that they can draw some at least some pass rush from the up front guys. Maybe Brian Cushing stays healthy this year, and so their secondary won't get exposed as much. Now, as far as offensively, if Arian Foster can last a full year, then they get a quarterback in there late in the first round or maybe in the second round where you can get a guy like maybe A.J. McCarron. You can possibly get a guy, if Derek Carr is around, which I don't think he will be, but get one of these second-tier guys, maybe Aaron Murray, to come in and just be a game manager.
What do you think?
And then for 2 years from now, they can compete with Andrew Luck in Indianapolis.
So you're assuming that Bob McNair is going to give Rick Smith another draft after this one to maybe go 8-8. Be mediocre this year because Rick Smith, you got to understand where he is. This is it for him.
Yeah.
So you have to put a product on the field that has a chance of winning now.
So
I'm not talking about
every year or less.
Exactly, but let's look at what Romo has. The best receiver that he played with up until Dez maybe learning how to play in this league was T.O.
Yeah. How'd that get him? Where'd that get him?
I'm just saying that's the best that he had. But now you give him Hopkins and you give him Andre. That's an upgrade right there. And that defense that you were talking about, that defense, they were better than average. And their quarterback, Matt Schaub, led the league. My bad. I think he had a career in pick sixes last year.
Yeah.
That killed their scoring defense. That was a team. If you remember, the game against the Super Bowl champs is what broke their backs. When Matt Schaub threw that interception, when they had the Seahawks beat to Richard Sherman, when there was no reason for him to even throw that ball, the team started to believe that they could not win with the quarterback.
Okay, so you tell me the team in Dallas believes they can really win a Super Bowl with Tony Romo when they've been 8-8 or less for the last 5 years.
I already said that. No, I don't. Okay, I think Dallas is further away with Tony Romo at quarterback. But if you put Romo on the Texans, I believe that they're closer because that team and the talent that they have a better shot at getting in the playoffs, maybe getting hot and doing something. I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys right now with Romo can do anything, let alone get to the playoffs. I don't know that.
He's Marshall Faulk joining us and Donovan McNabb. It's like PTI, you two going at it here.
We always, this is our conversations every time we're together.
Everyday conversation when we talk.
But you know what, Donovan, this is a copycat league, though, and I still believe that you entertain with offense during the regular season. You win championships with defense in the postseason. Do you see teams building their defenses? Because everybody's got a good offense, but do you build that defense like San Francisco and Seattle did as the blueprint for making that next step here?
Before last year, the Houston Texans, they were top 5 defense.
Yes.
Listen, I'm just in any defense, and this comes from Warren Sapp. Somehow, some way, he found a way to win a Super Bowl with his quarterback turning the football over and barely managing the game. So it's just hard. It's hard. It took away from them. You are supposed to now, they're supposed to just run through the South. And all of a sudden, Andrew Luck is giving you fits. And now your quarterback, who couldn't beat Peyton Manning, he can't beat Andrew Luck either.
Right.
That took away from that team.
And let me chime in on that as well. I mean, Jacksonville even beat the Houston Texans twice. And so what you have to realize is, we got so excited about Seattle and their defense and how strong they were. Defense wins games. But look, let's be honest. Offense wins you a Super Bowl.
Yes.
And that's what it comes down to. Listen, we look at the Super Bowl, the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. If they don't turn that ball over, Manny Ramirez does not throw that bad snap to Peyton Manning, we're talking about a whole new different ball game. I think that was the changing point of that game, because now Peyton is trying to figure out how can we play from behind while everybody else is looking at Peyton to get them in a position to win the game.
Wait, so you guys don't believe in defense?
No.
Okay.
I never played defense in the NFL, but Warren Sapp says this to me every time. Defense gives you a chance.
Yeah.
Offense wins the Super Bowl. That's all defense can do. They can stop you and give you the ball back, but your offense, they have to produce.
Yes. And he's absolutely right. If you run the football effectively and you convert on third, perfect example. No one talks about how well Russell Wilson played in that Super Bowl. He converted almost 85% of the third downs in that particular Super Bowl. And so we can talk defense and the turnovers they created or getting off on third down, but Russell Wilson won that Super Bowl for him. Percy Harvin won that Super Bowl for him. If it was the reverses, if it was a kickoff return, if it was the catches, whatever it may have been, offensively they won that Super Bowl. Defensively, they're going to get all the love because of Richard Sherman, because of K.J. Wright, because of Michael Bennett and Averill. Yeah, but offense wins Super Bowls for you.
And let me say this before we go, because this it does not get mentioned enough. The Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers, they allowed their young quarterbacks to play and use their strength, use your weapons.
Yeah.
And I always think about this. Just imagine if the Eagles accepted that Donovan McNabb at times, he's going to get out of the pocket and run, because he can run, and not try to convert him into, we just want to keep you in the pocket. What that team could have been like, because when you get in big games, playoff games, Super Bowls, the one thing that a defense can't account for is playing 11 on 11. The quarterback doesn't count when he doesn't run.
Well, that's why I said this about Johnny Manziel. Like, he's got to be a pocket passer. I want him to be Johnny Manziel. Whatever that is, I want him to play to his strengths.
This is the thing with Johnny Manziel. Okay, first of all, we know all his intangibles. We've seen everything that he could do on a collegiate level. We talked so much about what he did to Nick Saban and his defense. Look, this is college. This isn't the NFL. It's always going to come down to his height. He won't be able to see consistently over the line. We know that he can get out of the pocket, but you can't play the game at the quarterback position like that each and every time.
But Donovan, how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
6'3"?
Yes.
Russell?
And I'm 240 pounds. So you got to understand all the hits that we take.
Yeah.
Because, look, I don't care who you are. Your offensive line ain't going to be the Dallas Cowboys of old. You're going to have some offensive linemen who can't block.
That is true.
All right, here's the question before I let you go. Talking to Donovan McNabb and Marshall Faulk. The one guy you say from this draft who will be a Hall of Famer?
Ooh, man.
Oh, wow.
That
it won't be on anybody on offense.
I think Greg Robinson. No doubt.
Really?
I won't say Greg Robinson. I'll say somebody.
Is he a Larry Allen type?
He reminds me of Orlando Pace or Larry Allen. Just watching the agility. Watch the guy's footwork. That's all you have to do with linemen.
So that's your guy. Donovan?
I'll say if it's offense, it'll be Taylor Lewis from Michigan, offensive tackle. If it'll be anybody on defense, I'll say somebody like Donaldson.
Oh,
from
Pittsburgh? All right. Hey, appreciate you joining us, Donovan. We appreciate you stopping by as well, Marshall.
You know what, Dan? It's always great to be on your show.
Thank you, Donovan. Marshall, thanks for stopping by.